Here we are back with John Company, but in this case we're with a different game called John and Company. It's on the back side of the board. It's essentially, well, the concept behind it is the East India Company doesn't get to keep its monopoly through after Cromwell's reign. Cromwell basically doesn't assign the monopoly back, and a number of smaller companies are present, and the East India Company essentially just falls apart. There are some problems with this. The game does say, hey, this is experimental and not really play tested. Well, I'd say it's a little further than that. There's some things where the rules don't make sense for it. I'll go over what those are. First of all, you're going to be using the deregulation rules. And I went over these in the rule set. What can I briefly say to that? In the family action phase, each family can take multiple actions. As far as I can tell, and this is not noted, the setup, there are no differentiated cubes. I assume you have the amount of cubes that you would have for the number of players for the game. I'm playing with a 4-player game, so I've got an extra cube from what I had in the 6-player game for each player. I don't know how much difference that's going to make. But I figured I don't want to play with the full 6 players. Although actually this one maybe demands more players than the other one. Okay. So as I said, you can keep taking family actions, but you can do each one only once, I believe. No. You can take the ones without cost only once per game turn, which are listed here: trade mission, pass. Writer doesn't exist anymore, so we have new ones here. So the only free ones are trade mission and pass on this game. Others, well, you can still buy manors. They're a little more expensive. Shipyards and factories can be bought. You're allowed to, when you do this, you're allowed to buy up to 2 ships or 2 goods. Establish firm is when you flip your card. And these are all listed as options on the post-monopoly card as well. Trade mission, you put ships on a closed and sovereign region and try to open it up for trade. When you pass, you're allowed to immediately set sail and do things. If you're a family, you get a buck. But if you've turned to a firm and then you give up your family advantage, then you're allowed to actually set sail and try to make trades. And the order, the first people who pass get to make the first valuable trades. So that's kind of, there's an advantage to passing. Okay. Some of these things can only be done, like trade, if you are a firm. That's what I was explaining there. Once you do the pass, you either take your buck or you can set sail. The number of open regions that you want to sail to is going to be your penalty instead of the presidency. And your completed orders will be done by using cubes instead of black discs. And you get the revenue. Trade missions are if you want to reopen, open up an area, and you count the total number. I've already gone over this, but you count the total number of ships in the trade mission as the strength of the check with no penalty. And if you succeed, the region becomes, well, not a presidency. It becomes open. We'll hit that in a moment. The dominions stay with their sovereign. Each ship on the region will earn money equal to the plunder of the region. When the ship returns to its owner, there are no cubes, are there? Yeah, there are cubes used for these. The firms themselves, remember, you can seek investors. When you do that, you can offer up 10% slices of your company. Anything can be used in them. You just accept a bid from other players for that single share that you're offering up. Hostile takeover, if somebody ends up with the majority of the total percentage of the company, and that'll be represented. Each cube on the company is going to be a 10% holding, but you only need one cube, so you can mark it up this way. Promises go over here. That's your company. Notably, though, you do lose your family special ability when you become a corporation or a firm. There's the negotiated merger rules where you can merge two companies, one into the other, and ownership is determined somewhat by negotiation. But people who have cubes in either of the companies, I think it is, will keep those cubes unless some kind of agreement is made. Okay. When we hit trade phase, you must match the public expectation for the dividend that must be paid out. So the public expectation will be here. So right now that there's one open region, you'd have to pay out at least £2. If you pay out £2 and there's 50% shares, they get $1 each. Now these get divided up, and any fraction of 3/4 or more is rounded up to the wholest number. Now, the firm's owner takes whatever remains after paying their shareholders. I think that's what remains of the payment, which is to say you don't just empty the treasury each turn, which is what I first thought when I read that. At the end of the game, you can pay £3 plus a sale action penalty in order to automatically succeed your sale action. And then if you meet the public expectations, the revenue will be paid out as victory points and split according to ownership. No additional money from a private firm is paid out in that game turn, and it wouldn't do you any good. Now the victory in this is a little different. Okay. So let's go over what the differences are for John and Company. First of all, we've got this different board. We've got closed regions, one open region in Madras. Everybody gets $6. Now here it says prizes and evening postcards are not used. So there's none of the stuff that you can invest in back home. You're actually trying to run your business here. The evening post, however, I believe has to be in the game. This is one of the places where things don't quite make sense because there's an events abroad phase and there are no rules for how many events you have. Another thing that's missing is the initial startup. Normally, you pick some positions in the East India Company, and then you roll dice for your remaining spaces. Well, there are no die roll spots in here, so I think that's not done. Okay. There will not be presidencies. We track open and closed this way. We have a different sequence of play, not dealing with the corporate structure. At the end of the game, you get victory points for the firm revenues for your firms at the end on that end turn. If that happens, you get 2 points for each manor that you have in the game. Here it says 3. That's in the errata. Damn it. I thought I had an errata sheet for this game, but maybe I'm looking somewhere else. I believe you get the 3 that's printed on the board instead. Let's say you get 1 point for each shipyard and 1 point for each factory, which are all printed on the board. Okay. Because you don't have presidencies, you're not going to have armies and such going on, but you do have something like that, which is bases. Whenever there's a revolt or a conquest, you're allowed to establish bases. When a region revolts during the events in India phase, the players make a bid, starting with a random player, until all players but one have passed. The minimum bid is twice the defense of the territory, and you can bid as much as you like, but once you leave, you can't come back. And the winning player gets to take it over as a base. They get the thing over in their kind of holdings. They have to have a firm to do this, I think. No, doesn't look like it. They could take control without a firm, just as a family. And those are on the back of the provincial offices. Any ships that would be there during the revolt that would normally take losses, they're just going to stay. So we're not going to lose ships the way we would with the normal game. The base is going to allow you to generate tax revenue. Other players can only sail there if the owning player gives them permission, which is granted before the sale action is taken. And the base's owner can also do investment and campaigns. I think that's with his own cash. It does not say whose money is used for that. And this is kind of screwy because, again, the corporation or the firm, if it controls it, it has its own treasury. So I don't know whether or not bases are involved there, because they are involved, then again, so is personal money during mergers, firm failure, or whatever. If a firm fails, any bases owned by the firm become closed and sovereign. Okay, so I think only firms can have bases. Always controlled by one firm. Yes, okay. So the firm money can be used in that. Now remember, the player who controls the who controls the firm, can funnel their own money into the firm without restriction, except on the final turn of the game. So I think that's about it, honestly. You're allowed to buy goods. When does that shit happen? Well, that is not clearly stated there. So let's take a look at the family actions. Maybe it's included in those. Oh yeah, buy ships or goods for whatever price they're involved in. And remember, you get several pulses around. The reason that's important, both in this and the other side of it, is to allow these firms to have some kind of strength, because otherwise you could only do things once, right? And then you wouldn't have a lot of other actions. I guess that's it. We'll start this tomorrow, but I just wanted to get some of the rules out. And yeah, during the events abroad, I'm going to flip one of these, and that'll tell me how many times to move the elephant. Because there are no rules for moving the elephant in this, and no rules for generating the events, but they're supposed to be part of the play here. I don't remember if I mentioned this, but some of the families have abilities that don't really affect anything. So for example, this one, when taking your corporate blue company action, you get a die roll bonus. Well, I could associate that when you're doing shipping, which you won't be doing with that family, when you're doing this, because your firm exists by that point. So that's just not going to have any effect. This one gets you money. That's based on the number of firms that exist. That's how I'm reading it. During one nomination for chairman, you get 2 votes. Well, that's obviously useless. This guy gets cheaper shipyards, which has some effect on play. Now, the choice then is for each of the players what they're going to actually be able to do with their abilities. In the family actions now, the people who do not have a special ability probably want to start firms, because there's no real cost to that, and firms are how you get ahead in this game for the most part. But This guy, for example, he's got this bonus on the shipyards. There's no limit to how many I can buy. I can buy 3 and reduce the cost of ships. I think ships are very interesting to people. Do I want $2 for anything else? I don't think I do. So I think I'm going to buy 3 shipyard cubes to begin things. And immediately reduce the price to the next player. So that's my first family action. Now, I'm not going to get another one. I'm going to get to pass and take a buck. This guy, his ability doesn't really help him. He could spend $3 and start his company. And we're sitting there. We've got 100% of the company. We've got, I think, no firm treasury. I don't think the $3 to start the firm goes in there. Let me make sure that doesn't. But the ship is part of the firm now. It's still exchangeable in some way, I think. I know that player ships are exchangeable, so this guy could exchange a ship to the firm, maybe for a partial share. You know. However, how much of a share is a negotiable thing. These guys get money as long as there are other players involved. Which to me means he's got his own interest. Now, since everybody's got ships and there are ships available, reducing the cost of these, and again, this pound value kind of requires the Evening Post. That doesn't seem like a terrible choice. Try to encourage more firms. So I'm going to buy two goods factories. These things have victory point values too, so they're not exactly a bad choice. This guy has nothing available to him. No real reason not to start a firm. The only problem with starting one is if this company gets 2 ships, that means my company will have to get 3 in order to make a shipment on the first turn. And that brings us back around. I have nothing I can do, so I am going to pass. I don't have an easy way to mark who's passed and who's not, but I get a buck, which isn't very much. Puts it over here. Cheapest ship is unfortunately $4. Cheapest good is $2. I don't have to give up shares to do this. So I'm going to spend $2, which I put in my firm treasury over here. And then it goes over to him. And I get a good. One-shot way to make some cash. Allow me to meet expectations, which I have to pay out even if I'm the only person with holding the firm. Go back to this guy. Hey, I got money again. I got $2. $2 doesn't do me a lot of good. So I too will pass. and get a third buck. And again, I don't know how to mark this. I'm gonna throw cubes of people who passed over here just as a way. This guy needs to get 3 things. For $3, for $2, I can buy a good. But I can also offer shares up for ships. What I'm going to offer is a 10% share with the hope that somebody takes it. If they don't, then, you know, I can offer a 20% share in the hope that somebody takes it. The question with the 10% share, how much is that worth? You know, I'm committing a ship already for 10, but that's to 100% of my company. I committed a ship in $3. It's 100% of the company though. A ship is worth $4. So I'm not sure a ship is really worth a 10% share. But on the other hand, my ships aren't terribly useful until and unless I build a company. This is where knowledge of the game would be more helpful. Knowledge of how this is going to play out. And ships aren't necessarily permanent. The problem with a 10% share is this doesn't work. 10% share I don't think is going to pay out crap in the early stage of the game. So I'm a little tempted not to do that. That ship might be more worthwhile for my own company someday. So I'll take it on a 1, I guess. Well, he's interested in it. And him, he is not. So the bid that's being put forward is, yeah, I'll let you have a ship, but you give me 10%. And that's pretty much what he was looking for. So there we go. Opportunity for growth, but probably no money in the near future. Brings us back around to him. He's already passed. Let me put these here where they're more visible. Yep. I got my ship and my good. I am going to pass. Because I don't want to go investigate new things particularly. And that means I get to ship out, which is the sale action. Same structure as the company action, but the penalty is the number of open regions the firm wishes to sail to -1. So there's no penalty. But I only have $1. Oh, this sucks. All right. I spend $1, which gets me a die. I don't think anything terrible happens if I roll a 5 or a 6. Can't get fired. Hey, I made my deal. This is awesome. I get $6 in my company treasury. And yeah, I'm seeing the problem. At least he has money to roll more than 1 die. Because the company might just close and then all the ships go away, and that sucks. Okay, so that's him. So now we're on 1 remaining player. He's got some cash. He does not have enough ships to do everything. I could go open up a region. There is no penalty no matter what. I would get 2 dice for that. And I could maybe grab some plunder. I think I only get plunder from the sovereign region, not from the secondary regions. But Punjab has a plunder of 4. That's pretty good. I'd only get 2 dice though. Whereas if I set sail, I would have to buy a good for $2, which doesn't sound good. So I am going to take my pass. Actually, I think I don't put my pass yet. I'm going to do a trade mission to Punjab in the hopes of making some cash. Okay. And then we come back around. I pass. Everybody's passed. Oh, we're not there yet. At the end of that, we take care of my trade mission. I don't believe I'm allowed to add any money to this. So I get 2 dice to open the Punjab. I succeed. And that means I'm going to get $8 of plunder for the region. And that's the advantage, I guess, of having the additional ships as they're added up here. Okay. Now we go down to the trade section, and nobody's got any bases. Family powers. Wow, nobody bought the cheap ship for $4. Damn. No family power there. He gets $1 for each firm. So it's $2 because there's 2 operating firms right now. And now it's dividend time. Now this Jones and Company is only if there's 2 or 3 players. Okay, the dividends, let's look at the companies. Hastings and Company has an expected dividend. Okay, number of open regions is up to 4 of $10. I think he's just failed. Oops. Both companies just failed. This was maybe not wise. Oh, we just destroyed that. Let's think again. Instead of Punjab, how about we added Sindh, which is not going to get us $4 each. So we didn't get 8. We got $2 each. So we only pulled in 4. All right, let's go to him. Again, I've not played this, so I kind of want to see how this mechanism works out more than anything else. All right, so now there's 2 open areas. So the expected payout is 5. I've got to give at least $5 out. There's no reason I can't just give out 6. So there we go. And we made our money. Yay. Over here, expected payout is 5 again. Well, we didn't manage that. Okay. We can fix that. We give the company $1. And now we're paying out a dividend of 5. And let's see. 10% share is not going to get any of that because it's not 3/4 or higher. The little chart's just there to help you do the math, but I want to double check it. Let me hand these back so I don't forget them. And now we have to draw an event. Goods are going to be cheaper, but the biggie is events in India. There are going to be 2. Standard way of handling these. Nothing special to go with them. Punjab, we are balanced. I roll a 5. That's going to flip the card for the Mughal Empire. And because that flipped down, I believe this goes to chaos. I got to check these things. Basically, I found myself doing this throughout the game, having to look to see, yes, it does move it. The chart tells you. The chart's more helpful than my brain. Okay. And now we move on to the next one, because I don't think there's anything special about that, which is up here at Sind. And this is now 2 dice towards chaos. We roll a 5. They're going to attack Bombay. The strength of 3, but the Empire has a defense of 2, 3, 4. That's not going to succeed. So we're done there. And now we refresh, which involves not what I just did. It involves moving the good. Goods are only 1 use. And I think that got us through a full turn. Except that I took this. Let's use another cube for this, and we're back up at the family space. Pretty cool. See where we end up. Okay, so we get over here to the Larkins family, back on family deals. And there aren't a lot of turns to this, so I don't think this is going to be terribly interesting. I don't think much is going to happen, because you don't have all the resources of the corporation operating, and these companies don't really seem to be able to do much. Might work better in a longer game. We'll see. We'll see how this plays out. But he kind of screwed up. He traded his ship away. He's got nothing. I don't think there's much he can do. So he'll just pass and take his buck, I guess. And that puts us here. He's got a corporation. He's got some money. Ships are a good thing, but you got to keep money too to run your corporation properly. However, I can spend $4. Let me think about this. And buy myself a second ship, which would help some things. Let's see. I seem to remember the game changes on deregulation with ships, but maybe I'm mistaken. I don't see it. I thought, maybe it's this scenario. I thought maybe you got the whole amount of money for a shipbuilding somewhere, but I don't see that anywhere. That would be pretty damn impressive if you did. So I'm going to put money into the firm. The firm's going to buy one of these for $4. $2 go to the blue player. That doesn't seem too bad. Sorry, not the blue player, the purple player. Because we bought ourselves another ship. Blue was doing well because of the goods being purchased, but at this point, buying ships seems like a good deal. And that'll get Larkins some money. Blue, jeez. Goods are only $1 each. This is not a bad time for people to be buying them, but there's just not a whole hell of a lot to do here. I could start my company and then buy my own goods and recycle my money. The problem with that is you need money to go set sail, and I wouldn't have any. So I don't feel like I can start a company yet, really. I don't have enough cash. But I don't know what to do with all this money. I mean, I could buy yet another good factory. I don't know how much that does me. Ship factories, they don't really help me. My family deal would be a good thing for ship factories in the corporate game, but in this game, I just want companies out there, and not that many. As long as I don't have mine. So I'm kind of stuck with the, gosh, I don't know what to do with any of this stuff. If I start a company, I could roll one die if I buy goods. Oh. I just don't feel like I have a very good chance of getting anywhere with what I've got. And you don't want to pump things into here. We saw that last turn because it would wreck all the companies if too many things are available. The expectations go up too high. I kind of don't feel like I can do a damn thing. And I can get involved in buying shares, you know, trading for shares or something, but whatever. Over here. I got 2 ships. That's enough for me to go sail. I got money. There's only 2 ships over there. I could buy some goods. I can always use those. Goods are cheap. I'm going to pay blue $2 and grab a pair of goods. That swings me back around to green. Green only has $2 left. If I pass, I get to set sail. I spend my $2. I'm going to go to Madras. That gets me 2 dice. I'm only sailing to one place, so I don't get a penalty. And I do succeed. Ships are exhausted. I get a cube here. And I get $6 in the company treasury, which means we'll be able to pay out again. But we're not really making any ground, are we? Well, we bought a boat. We bought a boat instead of a goods. So we've got kind of a bonus there, I guess. That was green. Pink is the last guy left. Now he could sell shares if he wanted. He might be able to like destroy this by selling shares and, you know, going out or something. But I don't think that's terribly valuable to me. Right now I have 4 stuff. It would cost me 3 to buy another good. See, here's the problem. I would like to go to like this 3 and the 2 and bring back $9, but I'm a thing short. I would need a ship to buy the thing. All my cash won't get me a ship. How about the Paxtons? They have a ship. Another 10% gone. I would be bringing in $9 as my total dividend. Which would give $1 to each 8% to each 10% share. Is that worth my time? I don't think it really is. I think I'm better off sailing to Madras. So I'm going to dump $3 in, keep a goods. That gives me 3 dice. Makes it more likely my company will survive. Does succeed. I get a cube here. I get $6 in the company treasury. And everybody is gone. Has much happened? Not really. We haven't had a revolt. And we can't do conquest without a base. And you can't do conquest, you don't have troops in this game except for mercenaries. So you gotta buy mercenaries at $2 a pop, which is expensive. Okay, so that puts us to additional family revenue and tax. He gets $2. He's kind of raking it in, but money's not directly how you win. You win by having profitable company shares at the end, and then by investing in stuff. No other special family stuff. Okay, pay dividends. Let's start with the first company here. Hastings and Company. We're still at 2. $5 is expected to be spent. I'll just give myself everything. There's no reason not to. It's my company. I can keep reinvesting. Over here, these should have been exhausted. This can go away. Or go back here. Technically, that happens during the refresh phase, but we'll be there soon enough. Why am I doing it? I don't know. Because I'm having troubles. Okay. So my expectation is to pay out $5. Even if I pay out $6, I'm still not giving anything to that 10% share. So we'll just pay it all out too. And that's the problem with the 10% share. It's not making him any cash. But he does have some ownership in something that maybe if it works better, who knows? But yeah, I don't think the ship was worth, I don't think 10% was a fair evaluation for the ship. Events, we flip a new one. There's going to be 3, and these things are not available. Why? I don't know. We just don't worry about this part of it. Okay. So 3 events in India. Well, the first one goes to 8. Over to Madras. We're in a chaotic situation. We get a 7. No, we get a 4. That's 2 flags. 2 flags is a revolt. That can't be right. We get a 4. We flip. That will make things more towards chaos. Not a big deal. But we have the revolt effect. No. We had the flip effect. The flip has possible other effects. On something where there were boats. So we kind of have to look that up and find it. Any orders are disrupted. When an order becomes closed, any orders are under the president associated with the order immediately removes as many ships as the demand filled from either. Okay, so we each had 2 ships. I think we lose these. Oh, look, the companies are disintegrating. I think that's what happens. Let's see. And you can see, if that's the case, this is going to be damn hard when you're, if you're trying to compete with the company still in play. Huh. I don't know. Any orders on it. The president associated with the order removes as many ships as the demand. Either the presidency's. Okay, I have to look to see if there's anything special in the in either John and Company or the deregulation rules. See anything that negates the trade disruption effect. So I think both companies are wiped out of ships, which probably means they're just screwed. Because expectations are still that they make $5 a round. That's okay. Companies can fail. You got your money out of it, right? You know, you got something, but you're back 2 ships. So. Okay, so that was the first event. Now we go to Punjab. Punjab gets a 4. We're attacking Bengal. We're attacking with a strength of 3. It's got a defense of 2. Bengal is also falling to the Great Punjabi Empire. And when there's a conquest, something weird happens that we have to look up, right? And we flip through the rule book looking for what we need. The elephant moves to the next lowest sovereign region. So we just did Punjab. The next move to the lowest number of sovereign region other than this one. So now we go to 2, 3, 4. And this is the third roll. More cannon. We're attacking Hyderabad. We already have it. So now I believe we drop, let's see, where are the arrows? We go up to Madras, I think. Yeah, okay. So that's a 2 against Madras. Madras falls as well. This would have, I think, disrupted trade. And the thing does not move, I don't think, because there are no further events to be resolved. And now we do the refresh, which we've done most of, but at least expectations are lower. I don't know if John and Company ends through any special cases, or if deregulation wouldn't go there. Because when the Company game happens, if there are so many closed regions, the game ends. I think we're at that. We're at 7 closed regions. Which would normally be a mutiny, J4. That doesn't involve the Company. So I would say the game immediately ends. Whee! So we score it. How many victory points does anybody have? I don't know. It looks like none. It looks like nobody has any. What if we don't end the game here? I don't know. At the end of the game, you earn victory points for firm revenue, which was not calculated because the game ended kind of randomly, and 2 points for each manor, 1 point for each ship. Okay, so somebody could win. So Shipyards wins at 3. What if the game doesn't end here? Well, I don't know. We don't have an end of game rule that's different. Obviously, we can't have one of the end of game failures. We can't have Company failure end the game. But does it make sense if the mutiny does? Is the mutiny sensible without the East India Company and that kind of dominating power? Maybe not. Maybe that needed to be added to these rules. We'll keep playing. See whether or not. It's not like it's going to take all that long. There's a lot missing from this version of the game. One of the things The regular John Company gives you a mechanism by which the player order changes. There's nothing like that here. You feel like there should be something. One way to easily fix that would be, since you got to use these anyway, if there was a number, an additional value on these that you could use just for, hey, this is the player who goes first in so many cards. You could also do, like an auto selection to randomize that. But as it stands, the family activities, you're always starting with the same player with the rules as they stand, which isn't optimal by any means. You want to be able to move that around so people are in different positions to make choices. Let's get through another turn of this, I guess. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, so I'm going to back away. I'm going to open up by building 2 more shipbuilding or shipyards. Reason? There are basically almost no ships in the game. Somebody's going to have to do something, or there's going to be, we're going to have a collapse of the firms, and people aren't going to be able to make the money that they have been, which has just been kind of keeping them floating even. That's something, maybe buying ships. Might as well buy cheap ones, give me a couple bucks, great. And these are also worth victory points. I didn't have enough to buy a manor. Doesn't seem to be a way to end this game early. Unless it already ended, due to the mutiny, which I decided doesn't make a lot of sense. Over here, what's his situation? Well, now he can buy the cheap ships that are available, right? Because and this is just a matter of seeding. It's like an 18xx game. This would be the case anyway, even if you randomize the seeding, because, oh, hey, he made some ships cheaper. So, for example, if these 2 ships had gone, you would have seen this instead to try to encourage. Well, with $6, I need a couple of bucks to do something. These are not cheap. I'm almost questioning whether I want to buy a ship, because right now I have enough money to buy a ship and send a fleet out, but that's it. Now, I could go try to throw more things into open regions, but, in conjunction with someone else. He's got a little bit more money. He could buy a ship and a good and get 1 die roll. He could buy 2 ships and sail them out and try to open up an area. So that's the kind of negotiation we're going to see here. Hey, if I buy a ship and you buy a ship, and why were we not wanting to open up an area? Because expectations get stupidly large, and we're going to close, and we're going to lose our ships. That's a reason not to open up an area, and I think everything's under Punjab or Mysore. Does a company even make sense? I don't know if it does. What happens if I take 3 victory points and let my company fall? That may be my best option at this point. I could buy factories. They're worth victory points too. But yeah, I'll just spend my $6 and get 3 victory points. I'm going to let my company fall apart. I mean, I could offer shares. Hey, give me your ship and I'll give you a share. But I don't see too much interest in that. Over here, well, for $3 I could start a company, and then I would be in a horrible position. So that doesn't seem wise. I too will buy victory points with a manor. Over here. Well, somebody's got to keep things going, right? 6 bucks. That doesn't work. See, the problem for me is I need more cash. Now, if this is up to 4, we have to give out 10 bucks. If I have 2 ships, most plunder I'm going to have is 8. That's not going to work. So I am going to offer a share for a ship. I'm going to offer a 10% share to this guy for his ship. Nobody else really has anything they can give me. We're not too impressed with what a 10% share does, so we're kind of like, no, I don't think so. Come over here, that's a pass. Grab a buck, we'll put the pass token in. Pass. Grab a buck. And we've lost 3 bucks because our company's going to fail now. I mean, we could offer a bigger percentage, but we got nothing. A merger doesn't help. We've got nothing. Our company's worthless. All right, so over here, the Paxtons, we're going to be getting less money because there's less companies out there. Do I really have 4 bucks left? That's pretty cool. I will pass. Take my buck. You're getting me towards getting another manor, 2 victory points per, or 2 bucks per victory point is better than anyone except the guy who has the shipyard bonus, who gets that too. Okay, over here. Well, I have a good. Oh, things aren't as bad as I thought. All right, we're good. I'll buy a ship from purple. For that's not right. That money goes away. For 4 bucks, and I can make it here and get 5 bucks. I've got a lot of dice. Doesn't sound too bad to me. And I won't have to pay that 10% share. So he's a little bummed. And he has already passed, so we just keep going around to him. Third ship doesn't really help me, or second ship doesn't really help me, because we don't have the money. So we too will pass. We send our ship out to make it to Sind. And our company collapses if we don't pay out, but we could throw money in. Our payout right now only has to be 2 bucks. So to me, I'm going to spend 2 bucks on dice. I get a success. That's good enough. These guys are actually expended. Get a cube here. And there's 5 bucks in the company treasury. Yeah, this is nowhere near as interesting as the core game, and I'm not sure that there's an easy way to make it interesting. A reason why I think the designers couldn't find a way to fix it, but put the board in anyway, because what the hell? It's just, a little bit of extra rolls, not much at all. An extra page, a little bit more. Additional revenue from family powers. This has not. This did collapse because it did not pay out. I could have kept my thing open. And nothing. He gets a buck for his special bonus. He doesn't have one. The goods are going to be destroyed, and no bases. Pay dividend. I have 5 bucks. I could pay it all out. There's no harm in that. If I pay out a $5, I still don't have to give to the 10%. So we definitely want to do that. I think we made money. I don't know. Not much. And it's event time. And we'll get 3 events. This goes to 5. We're still in chaos. 4. A 4 is a revolt. Okay, revolt's interesting. Revolt lets us bid. After a region revolts, the India players, in India, the players may make a bid. Now, the corresponding card is as if the company players who pass may not bid. I'm trying to see what you get. It's got to be controlled by a firm, which means only one player can even bid on it. Minimum bid is twice the value of the region's defense. Well, Bengal's defense is a 2. So twice Bengal would be $4. What would we get for that $4? Well, we'd get taxes, which is not going to be a lot. We get to open up another area, which increases the requirements. Right now, we're the only company running. God. I don't know if this is worth it. No matter what, though, it's come out. That goes further there. Looking for Bengal. I have not found it. There it is. There's nothing special about it. I can do investment actions. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And I could do... This guy can't even do it because he's not a company. He has the bonus on blue actions if this was a blue action. And I could attack things, which doesn't seem terribly valuable. I don't think I make money off this. Like, I think I make more money off shipping. So I will pass on that. Revolt may change the order. And we flip through this because this is one of the few things that I think is not on the board. Or maybe it's on the John and Company, or the John Company board, but it's not on this one, which might indicate something, but we don't want to talk about that. Sovereign enclosed. The office will be, if the presidency loses its last region, the corresponding presidency, balance of India, the elephant will move to the lowest number dominated region if possible. Okay, that is Maratha. All right, so that's our second coming up. We roll a 4. That's an X. X means status quo over there. And now we go to Hyderabad with only 1 die. And we get a 2, which is not good. 2 is a flip, which I believe sends it back towards chaos. That was... now I can't remember. Bengal pulled out. Maratha, and now Madras. Okay, so that's my 3 actions. And our refresh action. We get a boat, and this moves forward. Whoop, 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 whoop. And that is, this becomes awake. All right, let's send this up. I'll finish up the last half of the game.